Listen closely, deeply, because what I am about to share with you isn't just information. It is a key that has been hidden in plain sight since the moment you took your very first gasp of air in this physical dimension. What if I told you that the invisible prison you feel around you, financial ceilings, the repeating relationship patterns, the anxiety that wakes you up at 3 a.m. is being constructed by you, not by your thoughts, but by your breath. There's a rhythm happening inside you right now. Can you feel it? Inhale, exhale. Most of us believe this rhythm is simply keeping us alive. We think it's biology. We think it's mechanics. But there is a study, a profound piece of research from the HeartMath Institute that proves why every affirmation you have ever spoken, every vision board you have ever created, and every goal you have set has failed to manifest the life you truly desire. The moment you realize what is actually happening with every single inhale and every single exhale, you will understand that breathing is not about staying alive. It is about becoming alive, truly alive to your power as a creator of reality. Let's go deeper into this mystery. Consider the sheer magnitude of your existence. Every single day, a human being draws approximately 23,000 breaths, 23,000 separate events, 23,000 opportunities to speak directly to the fabric of the universe. Yet, for 99.9% of the population, these breaths happen in complete, utter darkness. They happen in unconsciousness. You are breathing right now while scrolling through your phone, aren't you? You breathe while you are stuck in traffic, frustration building in your chest. You breathe while you are rushing between obligations, feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders. You breathe while you are replaying that argument from yesterday, or worrying about the bills due tomorrow. You are breathing, but you are not there. And here is the tragedy. You never question why your outer world continues to mirror your inner turbulence. You keep trying to rearrange the furniture of your life, changing jobs, changing partners, changing cities, without understanding that you are broadcasting a specific, chaotic energetic signature through the rhythm of your breath to every single person, every single atom within an 8-foot radius of your body. But there is something even more profound happening here, something that most people live their entire lives without ever discovering. Your breath pattern is not just moving air. It is encoding information into the quantum field itself. Think of it like a writer's quill, dipping into the ink of your soul and writing on the very fabric of reality with every inhale and every exhale. When you breathe from a place of hidden anxiety, that shallow, rapid rhythm in your upper chest, you are literally writing anxiety into the field around you. You are commanding the universe to bring you more reasons to be anxious. When you breathe from a place of scarcity, holding your breath, waiting for the other shoe to drop, you are encoding scarcity into the quantum hologram, the quantum field, that vast, infinite intelligence that surrounds us. It does not judge you. It does not decide if you are good or bad. It does not distinguish between what you want and what you fear. It simply responds. It is a mirror. It responds to the information you are consistently encoding through your breath pattern. And this encoding process happens at frequencies far beyond what your conscious mind can detect. We are talking about subtle, invisible electromagnetic emissions that occur at the cellular level every time your lungs expand and contract. Let's look at the science of light. Dr. Fritz Albert Popp, a brilliant researcher in biophysics, discovered something that sounds like pure magic, but is absolute science. He proved that every cell in your body emits light. These are called biophotons. You are a being of light, literally. When you are in harmony, when your breath is deep and rhythmic, your cells emit coherent light. It is like a laser, focused, powerful, directed. But when you are in disharmony, when you are stressed, fearful, or unconscious, your cells emit chaotic light. It is like a broken light bulb flickering in a dark room. Your breath pattern directly influences this cellular light emission. This means, listen to this, you are literally painting your reality with light every moment of your existence. With every breath, you are sending a light signal. This is who I am. This is what I expect. This is what I believe. And the universe, in its infinite obedience, rearranges itself to match that light. The ancient ascended masters the keepers of the old wisdom, they understood this principle thousands of years before we had the technology to measure it. They called it breathing the light body into existence. They absolutely knew, that conscious breathing could actually restructure the energy template of your physical form. They used this knowledge to heal diseases that seemed incurable. They used it to extend life far beyond normal human limits. They used it to access states of consciousness where they could communicate with the divine. This wasn't wishful thinking. This wasn't primitive superstition. They were applying precise, technical knowledge of how consciousness interfaces with matter through the breath. And this is precisely why your affirmations have failed. This is why you can stand in front of a mirror and say, "I am wealthy," 1,000 times. But if your breath is shallow and tight, communicating, "I am lacking," the universe will always believe your breath over your words. The breath is the truth teller. The breath is the signal that never lies. But there's a quantum mechanism that transforms everything. When you finally discover that each breath generates an electromagnetic field that either constructs your desired reality or demolishes it, you stop battling your conditions. You stop fighting your bank account. You stop fighting your loneliness. You stop fighting your body. Instead, you begin encoding your reality from the level of consciousness itself. I am going to reveal to you a precise, 4-stage observer breath method. This is the bridge. This is how you shift from being life's victim, tossed around by circumstances like a leaf in a storm, to becoming life's conscious architect. We're going to explore the quantum gap technique, a secret doorway that opens for just 0.3 seconds. In that tiny sliver of time, you have the power to rewire your entire existence. You will become the stable center around which reality reorganizes, instead of the one being crushed by it. But first, we must acknowledge the lost opportunities. Each unconscious breath is a wasted chance. It is a letter written to the universe that was never mailed. Most people squander 23,000 opportunities daily. They throw away 23,000 miracles every single day. Think back to your entrance into this physical realm. It didn't begin with a thought, did it? You didn't think your way into this world. You didn't negotiate your way in. It began with breathing. Your inaugural act on Earth wasn't forming a complex strategy, speaking words, or even crying out. It was drawing breath. Your consciousness entered this dimension, not through mental complexity, not through intellectual sophistication, but through the elegant, rhythmic simplicity of the breath. In that initial moment, that holy first inhale, you possessed a knowledge that modern life has obscured. You knew that breath functions as the bridge. It is the silver cord connecting your current self to your emerging self, connecting the visible to the invisible. Yet, somewhere in your development, somewhere between the innocence of childhood and the stress of adulthood, you learned to breathe like an automaton. You became a biological robot. You shifted from soul-centered breathing to survival-centered breathing. Right now, in this very moment, I want you to become aware of your breathing pattern. Don't change it yet. Just watch it. Where does it originate? For most of you listening to this, it is likely rapid. It is likely shallow. It is likely concentrated in the upper chest region, near the throat. This is what I term automated breathing. This is the breathing of survival. It is the type of breathing that maintains bodily function. It keeps the heart beating and the brain firing, while leaving your spirit completely undernourished. It keeps the machine running, but the pilot is asleep. Ancient keepers of wisdom understood something our contemporary world has forgotten. From the Sanskrit concept of prana to the Hebrew understanding of ruach, civilizations throughout history recognize breath as infinitely more than the mere biological necessity. They knew it served as the sacred connector. It is the rope that ties the human to the divine. It is the interface between matter and quantum potential. In these traditions, intentional breathing wasn't simply a technique or a hack to reduce stress. It was a portal. It was a stargate. Egyptian mystery schools taught that every breath carried the capacity to activate distinct consciousness chambers within the human vessel. Ancient yogis realized that breath could transform not only your internal experience, but the actual structure of reality surrounding you. They weren't using poetic language. They weren't speaking in metaphors. They comprehended that conscious breathing involves more than moving oxygen through your respiratory system. You are circulating energy through existence itself. Consider this visceral truth. Every emotion you have ever experienced, every choice you have ever made, every instant of clarity or confusion has been accompanied by a specific breathing rhythm. Think about the last time you were angry, truly angry. Your breath became short, sharp, forceful. It was like a weapon. Now, think about a moment of deep peace, maybe looking at a sunset or holding a sleeping child. Your breath naturally became deeper, slower, almost invisible. Your breath doesn't merely reflect your condition. It creates your condition. This is the secret. This is the key that turns the lock. If you change the breath, you change the emotion. If you change the emotion, you change the vibration. If you change the vibration, you change the reality. The distinction between automated breathing and conscious breathing is awareness. That is the only difference, but it is the difference between being asleep at the wheel and driving the car. Automated breathing occurs to you. It is something that happens while you are busy doing other things. Conscious breathing flows through you, with you as an active participant in the dialogue between your inner landscape and the quantum field enveloping you. When you begin breathing with purpose, with presence, with reverence for this fundamental act connecting you to the life force, something extraordinary unfolds. You cease being a passive receiver of whatever reality appears. You stop being the victim of the news, the victim of the economy, the victim of your boss's mood. You transform into an active collaborator in designing it. This is where breathing becomes sacred. Every breath from this place no longer merely sustains life. It sustains alignment. And alignment is the only thing the universe responds to. What I am about to share with you will dissolve the illusion that has confined you for decades. You believe you control your thoughts. You think you are the thinker. But the truth is, you are actually imprisoned by them. Most humans spend their entire existence believing they are their mental commentary. You awaken each morning, and immediately the internal dialogue commences. It's like a radio that has been left on, blasting static and noise. What needs accomplishing today? I'm behind schedule. I look tired. I wonder about their reaction to yesterday's conversation. Perhaps I should check my device. You assume this mental voice represents your identity. You say, I think, I feel, I worry. But what if this assumption is completely incorrect? What if that voice isn't you at all? At this moment, while engaging with these words, while my voice guides you deeper, I invite you to try something fundamental. Notice your breathing pattern again. This time, don't attempt to modify it. Simply observe. Feel the air flowing through your nostrils. Feel the coolness as it enters, the warmth as it leaves. Feel your lungs expanding, then gently releasing. As this occurs, something remarkable is happening. Do you see it? You are becoming the witness of your breath. You are no longer just a breather. You are the one watching the breathing happen. Now, while observing your breath, notice your mind's activity. It might be commenting. It might be saying, this seems pointless. It might be saying, I'm doing this incorrectly. It might be asking, how much longer will this take? Here is the profound revelation that will shatter your old reality. If you can perceive those thoughts, if you can observe their rising and dissolving, then you cannot be those thoughts. The camera cannot take a picture of itself. The eye cannot see itself. If you can see the thought, you are not the thought. You are the awareness observing them. This marks the emergence of the observer. This is the part of you that exists beyond the continuous stream of mental chatter. This is the version of you that is eternal, unchanging, and infinitely powerful. Imagine sitting beside a flowing river. Your thoughts represent the water moving past. Sometimes the current flows gently, clear and calm. Sometimes it rushes turbulently, muddy and dark. But you, your authentic self, you remain seated on the riverbank. You are observing everything pass by. You are not wet. You are not cold. You are not moving. You are not the river. You are the consciousness that perceives the river. Ancient wisdom traditions employed the metaphor of sky and clouds. Your thoughts resemble clouds drifting across the vast expanse of your awareness. Some clouds appear dark and stormy, worry, fear, uncertainty, debt, heartbreak. Others seem light and fluffy, joy, enthusiasm, hope. But observe this carefully. The sky itself remains undisturbed by any clouds. The sky does not get wet when it rains. The sky does not get burned when it is sunny. The sky does not break when there is a storm. It stays constant, spacious, unchanged. Regardless of clear or stormy weather, the sky simply is. This observer consciousness represents your authentic nature. It is the part of you that has been unchanged since childhood. Think about the you that was 5 years old. That you felt exactly the same as the you feels right now, didn't it? Your body changed. Your mind changed. Your beliefs changed. But the observer behind the eyes, that presence has never aged a single day. It will remain unchanged until your final breath. It is the witness, the awareness, the silent presence that has observed your entire life experience unfold. But here's where this gets even more profound. This is where we leave psychology and enter the realm of quantum creation. The observer isn't just watching your thoughts and emotions like a passive audience member watching a movie. The observer is actually the creative force behind your reality. Every major spiritual tradition has pointed to this truth in different ways. The Hindus called it Sakshi, the witness consciousness. The Buddhists spoke of Buddha nature, the unchanging awareness. The Christian mystics referred to it as the Christ consciousness within. All were pointing to the same fundamental recognition. You are not your temporary experiences. You are the eternal awareness experiencing them. When you truly grasp this, when you feel this in your bones, everything changes about how you approach life's challenges. Instead of panicking and asking, "How can I fix this problem?" you begin asking, "What is this experience trying to show me?" Instead of resisting difficult emotions, you become curious about them. You look at your anxiety and say, there's a cloud of anxiety passing through my sky." You don't say, "I am anxious." You say, "I am observing anxiety." Do you feel the difference? One is a prison, the other is freedom. Instead of trying to control outcomes with force and struggle, you become fascinated by the creative intelligence orchestrating your experiences. This shift from participant to observer to conscious creator is what the ancient alchemists called the great work. They weren't trying to turn lead into gold in some dusty laboratory full of beakers and fires. That was a metaphor. They were transforming the lead of unconscious reactivity into the gold of conscious response. The laboratory was their own consciousness, and the breath was their primary tool of transformation. Modern neuroscience is now validating what these ancient traditions always knew. When you observe your thoughts without judgment, you actually change the neural pathways in your brain. You physically alter the hardware of your mind. Research shows that just minutes of conscious observation can begin rewiring decades-old patterns. Your brain literally starts creating new neural networks that support the observer rather than the reactor. You start building a brain that is designed for peace, rather than a brain designed for stress. But the observer state isn't just about personal transformation. It is about remembering your role as a conscious participant in the universe's creative process. When you are identified with your thoughts and emotions, you are like an actor who has forgotten they are in a play. You are completely lost in the drama. You think the tragedy is real. You think the villain is real. You weep real tears. But when you awaken to the observer, you remember. You remember you are not just the actor. You are also the director. You are the writer. And you are the audience. All at once. This is why conscious breathing is so powerful. Every breath from the observer state is like sending a clear, coherent signal to the universe. I remember who I am. I am ready to consciously participate in this creative dance. And the universe, hearing this signal, responds. It begins to organize circumstances that match your newfound clarity. Your ego mind, that voice of endless commentary, wants you believing it is in control. It constructs elaborate narratives about your identity, your obligations, other people's opinions of you. It exists in constant commentary about past events that are gone forever and anxiety about future possibilities that may never happen. But the observer The observer exists only here, only in this moment, in the eternal now. This is where genuine power resides. Breath becomes your anchor to this observer consciousness. Each time you return your attention to your breathing, you are returning home. You are returning to your true self. You are stepping away from the drama of thoughts into the peace of pure awareness. This transcends spiritual philosophy. This is quantum mechanics in practice. The observer effect in quantum physics demonstrates that conscious observation literally transforms reality. Electrons behave differently when they are being watched. Reality shifts when it is observed. When you become the conscious observer of your inner world, you gain the power to influence and shape your outer world. Have you ever experienced moments when time seemed to slow down? Perhaps during a crisis, where everything moved in slow motion, or in a deep embrace with someone you loved, or looking at a breathtaking landscape. Those moments weren't coincidences. They were glimpses. They were cracks in the matrix. They were previews of what becomes possible when you slip into the space between thoughts, between heartbeats, between breaths. Concealed in the space between your breaths exists a 0.3-second window where you can literally rewire your reality. Yet 99% of people never discover how to access it. They rush right past it, desperate for the next inhale, desperate for the next moment. But we're going to stop rushing. We're going to find that window, and we're going to step through it together. Those time-slowing moments you just recalled, they were not random glitches in your perception. They were invitations. They were glimpses of what becomes possible when you slip into the space between thoughts, between heartbeats, and most importantly, between breaths. In that suspended instant, you touched something timeless. You touched something beyond the ordinary flow of minutes and hours. You encountered the quantum gap. Take a breath now. But this time, I want you to pay attention not only to the inhalation and exhalation, but to what occurs between them. There's an instant, brief, fleeting, yet profound, where everything pauses. Inhale, fully fill your lungs, and wait. There, right before you exhale. You are full of life, yet you haven't begun to release it. And then, exhale, let all go and wait. There again, at the bottom of the breath, before the next hunger for air begins. These are not vacant spaces. These are not just pauses in the machinery. They are sacred gateways. Ancient Egyptian initiates knew this secret intimately. In the mystery schools along the Nile, seeking students were trained for years to enter these gaps with their full consciousness. They called it resting in the silence of Ra, the space where the sun god paused between creation breaths. These weren't merely breathing practices for health. They were training and accessing the field of infinite potential that exists in every single moment of stillness. The Egyptians understood what quantum physics now validates. In the space between one state and another, anything can emerge. Think of it like music. What makes a melody beautiful? It isn't just the notes. If you played all the notes at once, it would be noise. It is the space between the notes that creates the rhythm, the emotion, the beauty. Without the silence, the music cannot exist. Your breath creates this same sacred rhythm in your existence. In this quantum gap, something extraordinary occurs within your psychology. Your usual mental commentary disappears. The constant stream of I should, I must, I need becomes quiet. Why? Because the ego lives in time. The ego lives in the past or the future. But the gap is outside of time. In that silence, pure intention can finally crystallize. This is not the desperate wanting of the ego, scratching at the door of the universe. This is the clear, resonant knowing of the soul. Here, your deepest desires stop being wishes. They become instructions to the field. Consider this gap as creation's womb itself. Just as a child develops in the dark, quiet, protected space of the mother's womb, your dreams and intentions require this sacred darkness to take form. You cannot plant a seed in the bright sun and expect it to grow. It needs the dark, nutrient-rich soil. The gap is that soil. Ancient mystics called it the needle's eye, that impossibly narrow opening through which infinite possibilities must pass to become reality. Most people rush past these moments. They breathe anxiously, rapidly, thinking constantly, always moving toward the next thing. They are running through the museum of life without ever stopping to look at the art. But when you learn to rest in the gap, when you can be comfortable in the space between what was and what will be, you discover that this is where all true power lies. It is not about breath retention. It is not about forcing your body to hold its breath until you are dizzy. It is about soft, gentle presence. It is about learning to linger in the hallway between the rooms of your life. In that presence, you are touching the place where intention meets infinite possibility. You are not attempting to control the field. You are communing with it. But accessing this quantum gap is only the beginning. Something deeper awaits your awakening. Your body has been transmitting signals for years that you have been overlooking. You have been treating your body like a vehicle, something to drive you to work, something to feed, something to look at in the mirror. But those ignored messages are literally obstructing your manifestation abilities. That deeper awakening I mentioned isn't discovered by reaching higher into the stars or thinking more sophisticated thoughts. It is found by journeying inward. It is found by descending from a mental realm into the sacred territory of your physical form. Just as ancient civilizations constructed magnificent temples to house the divine, you too must build an inner sanctuary, not with stone and mortar, not with gold and marble, but with breath and awareness. Consider the world's great temples for a moment. Picture the Great Pyramid of Giza. Picture the towering cathedrals of Europe. These sacred spaces where people have gathered for millennia to touch something greater than themselves. These structures weren't built randomly. They were feats of sacred geometry. Every pillar was positioned with intention. Every chamber was designed to channel and amplify divine energy. Your body is identical. It is already a temple, but most of us have never learned to inhabit it consciously. We live in our heads, and we drag our bodies around behind us. Ancient Egyptians grasped this deeply. They mapped the human body as a living temple, with energy centers corresponding to different consciousness chambers. They knew that breath was the key unlocking each room, revealing not just the divine within, but also the stories, the traumas, and the patterns stored in the body's wisdom. If this understanding is resonating with you, if you can feel the truth of this landing in your chest, I invite you to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps this frequency reach others who are ready for this transformation. We are building a digital temple here, and your energy is a pillar within it. As you begin breathing more consciously now, moving into this second stage of the practice, you might notice something intriguing happening. Certain body areas may feel tight, constricted, numb, or somehow inaccessible, like a room in your house you've lost the key to. Your shoulders might carry the weight of responsibilities you've been bearing for years, burdens that perhaps aren't even yours. Your chest might feel armored, a steel plate protecting a heart that learned to close after a betrayal years ago. Your stomach might hold anxiety knots, a tightness that anticipates the future with fear. Your throat might feel restricted, holding back words you never permitted yourself to speak, truths you swallowed to keep the peace. I'm curious, as you are exploring this conscious breathing right now, what are you noticing in your body? Where is the resistance? Where is the flow? Share in the comments what sensations or insights are arising for you. Naming them is the first step to releasing them. These aren't merely physical sensations. They are biographical. They are the history of your life written in flesh. Your body has been recording your life, storing the emotional residue of every experience in its tissues. That chest tightness might be holding grief you never fully processed from a loss 10 years ago. The shoulder tension could be carrying the stress of your parents that you absorbed as a child. But here's the beautiful aspect of conscious breathing. It doesn't just reveal these patterns, it helps dissolve them. Each conscious breath is like gentle renovation work on your inner temple. It is like opening the windows in a house that has been closed up for decades. You are clearing old debris. You are sweeping out the dust of the past. You are restoring the natural energy flow that wants to move through you. What happens during this clearing process is truly remarkable. As you breathe consciously into areas of tension or holding, you are not just releasing physical knots. You are actually liberating trapped memories. You are liberating trapped emotions. You are liberating yourself. And it goes even deeper. You are clearing inherited patterns that have been stored in your cellular matrix. Science is now catching up to what shamans have known for eternity. Your DNA itself carries information from your ancestors. It carries their color of eyes and texture of hair, yes, but it also carries their traumas, their fears, and their limitations. This is called epigenetic inheritance. If your grandmother experienced deep fear during a time of war or famine, and she never fully processed it, that fear pattern, that specific survival signal, was passed down. It can show up in your nervous system today. Even if you have never experienced a war or a famine, you might feel a frantic anxiety about food or safety. That makes no logical sense in your current life. This is why some people have anxiety about things they've never actually encountered. It is an echo in the blood. But here is the empowering truth that breaks the chain. Just as these patterns can be inherited, they can also be transformed. When you consistently breathe from coherent states, when you use the observer breath and rest in the quantum gap, you are not just healing your own nervous system, you are actually healing the ancestral line. Your conscious breathing sends healing frequencies backward through time to your ancestors, whispering, "It is safe now. The war is over. We are free." And it sends frequencies forward through time to future generations, ensuring your children and grandchildren do not have to carry these burdens. You become a healing bridge across time itself. You become the cycle breaker. Imagine slowly descending through your inner temple's floors with each breath. As you breathe into your chest, you're visiting the heart chamber, the seat of love, connection, and emotional wisdom. Imagine the light turning on in this room. As your breath moves deeper into your solar plexus and belly, you are entering the power and intuition chamber, where your deepest gut knowing resides. With each breath, you are not just observing these spaces. You are purifying them, blessing them, reclaiming them. The Egyptians built their pyramids to align with celestial energies, creating structures that could channel cosmic forces into earthly form. Through conscious breathing, you are doing the same with your body. You are aligning your inner architecture with the higher frequencies of love, peace, and creative power that want to flow through you. This isn't about perfecting your body to look like a magazine cover. It isn't about forcing it to be different. It is about learning to inhabit it fully. It is about honoring the intelligence that has been guiding you all along. Once your inner temple is constructed, once the debris is cleared and the windows are open, something remarkable begins happening to everything around you. The internal change begins to leak out into the external world. Scientific research has proven your breath creates an electromagnetic field extending 8 feet from your body. This means you are unconsciously influencing everyone around you right now. You are walking around inside a bubble of energy that is constantly touching the bubbles of others. That remarkable occurrence around you isn't just poetic metaphor. It is measurable science. The HeartMath Institute research demonstrates that your heart generates an electromagnetic field extending far beyond your physical body. This field is 5,000 times stronger magnetically than the brain, and this field changes dramatically based on your breathing pattern. When your breathing is chaotic, shallow, or stressed, your field becomes jagged. It broadcasts that chaos to everyone within its reach. It's like standing next to a radio emitting loud static. People feel uncomfortable around you, even if they don't know why. They feel on edge. But when your breathing becomes coherent, when it becomes deep, rhythmic, and intentional, your field becomes a source of harmony. It becomes a beautiful symphony. Think of your breath field like the surface of a still lake. When you breathe from anxiety or rushing thoughts, you are like someone frantically splashing in water, creating erratic waves and ripples that disturb everything around you. You disturb the peace of the room. You disturb the peace of your family. But when you breathe from that peaceful center we have been cultivating, you become like the mountain reflected on the lake's calm surface. Still, grounded, majestic, and magnetically peaceful. Have you ever entered a room and immediately felt either agitated or calm, without anyone speaking a single word? Have you noticed how certain people seem to carry peace wherever they go, while others seem to bring a storm cloud. This is an imagination. It is the breath field in action. We are constantly transmitting our internal state through the rhythm and quality of our breathing. We are human broadcasting stations. Others are receiving these signals, whether they realize it or not. Children are especially sensitive to these fields. They are like little psychic sponges. They haven't learned to override their natural intuition with logic yet, so they respond immediately to the energy we are broadcasting. When a parent breathes with stress and anxiety, trying to hide it behind a fake smile, the child feels the dissonance. They often become restless, clingy, or act out, without understanding why. They are reacting to the static in the field. But when that same parent takes a few conscious breaths, when they settle into their center, the child often calms naturally, as if by magic. The field is shifted, and the child feels safe again. This field effect extends to every interaction you have. It affects your business meetings. It affects your romantic dates. It affects the cashier at the grocery store. When you breathe consciously before a difficult conversation, you are not just preparing yourself. You are creating an energetic container. You are smoothing the air in the room before you even speak. You are making it safe for the truth to emerge. When you walk into your workplace centered in your breath, you are subtly influencing the entire atmosphere, making it easier for creativity and collaboration to flow. You become a thermostat, not a thermometer. A thermometer just reflects the temperature of the room. A thermostat sets the temperature. But there's an even deeper layer to this field effect that most people never discover. Your breath field doesn't just influence the people around you. It influences the very fabric of space-time itself. This isn't mystical speculation. It is cutting-edge physics meeting ancient spirituality. The work of scientists like Nassim Haramein demonstrates that consciousness and space-time are intimately connected at the quantum level. When you breathe from a coherent state, you are actually creating what physicists call torsion fields, spiraling energy patterns that can influence the structure of reality itself. These fields can affect probability distributions. This is the technical explanation for luck. This is the mechanics of miracles. When you are in high coherence, you make certain outcomes more likely, synchronicities, opportunities, health, while making others less likely, accidents, conflicts, obstacles. This is why people who meditate and breathe consciously on a regular basis often report increased synchronicities. I was just thinking about her, and she called. I needed exactly this amount of money, and a check arrived. Think about the implications of this. Your breath is not just affecting your health or your mood. It is literally participating in the creation of your reality at the most fundamental level. Every coherent breath you take is like casting a vote for the kind of reality you want to experience. Every unconscious breath is like a vote for more of the same unconscious patterns. The Tibetan masters understood this deeply. They developed elaborate breathing practices called lungam, which literally means wind horse. They knew that conscious breathing could ride the winds of karma, actually changing the trajectory of destined events. What seemed like fixed fate could be transformed through the power of conscious breath. Modern research is beginning to validate these ancient insights. Studies on the Global Consciousness Project show that when large groups of people meditate simultaneously, random number generators around the world begin producing less random patterns. The coherent field states generated by conscious breathing literally organize chaos into order, not just in human consciousness, but in the physical world itself. This is why environmental healing through consciousness is not just possible, it is inevitable. When enough people learn to breathe from coherent states, we will begin seeing spontaneous healing in ecosystems. We will see unexpected resolutions to seemingly intractable conflicts. You are not just learning a personal practice to make your day better. You are becoming part of the solution to humanity's greatest challenges. Every breath you take from full consciousness contributes to the healing of our species and our planet. This is the true meaning of service. Not just physically helping individuals, though that is important, but participating in the elevation of consciousness itself. The beautiful aspect of understanding your breath field is recognizing how connected we all truly are. You are not just an isolated individual trying to improve your own life. You are part of a vast consciousness web. Every breath you take with awareness contributes to the overall field of peace and possibility on this planet. But this influence isn't something you need to try to do. You don't need to strain. You don't need to push peace out of your chest. It happens naturally when you focus on aligning your own inner temple. The field responds to authenticity, not performance. When you breathe from a genuine place of presence and peace, that genuineness radiates outward without any effort on your part. This is why ancient teachings often spoke of the sage as someone who serves simply by being. They understood that consciousness itself is contagious, that peace is magnetic, and that one person breathing from their true center can shift an entire room's energy. You have journeyed far without leaving your position, not across territories, but across layers of yourself, through rhythm, silence, and observation. But there is one final frontier, a state of being that the most accomplished people in history mastered, something you have likely never been taught. It is the secret of accessing infinite power through absolute stillness. In traveling through your own layers, you have discovered something the world doesn't want you knowing. The world wants you busy. The world wants you loud. But you are about to discover that the most powerful action is often complete non-action. We are about to enter the realm of the zero-point field. We inhabit a culture that worships activity. We are told that more effort equals greater results. But the quantum field operates by an entirely different physics. It does not respond to your intensity. It responds to your alignment. This brings us to the ultimate secret, the dynamic stillness of the zero-point field. Imagine a mountain. It appears completely still, yet it is tremendously powerful. It doesn't struggle against storms. It allows them to pass. It doesn't chase the sun. It simply receives the light. This is the kind of stillness that moves worlds. When you breathe into this mountain-like presence, reality begins rearranging itself around you. Opportunities you could never have forced begin appearing naturally. The right people cross your path. This isn't magic, it is resonance. When you stop broadcasting the chaotic signals of desperation, you finally emit the clear frequency of trust. The universe hears you for the first time. In this stillness, you access the zero-point field, a state where all potential futures exist simultaneously. The ancient Vedic texts called this Turiya, the fourth state of consciousness. Here, you are not just experiencing reality. You are participating in its creation. You stop acting from the ego's scarcity and start creating from the soul's infinite possibility. You are not a separate wave trying to reach the ocean. You are the ocean expressing itself as a wave. As you embody this, you become a reality anchor. Your very presence reminds others of their own truth. This is how consciousness evolves, not through force, but through the magnetic power of authentic embodiment. We are reaching a critical mass, a phase transition where humanity is waking up. By breathing consciously, you are voting for a new paradigm. This is your invitation. If this frequency resonates with you, subscribe to this channel, not just to watch, but to align. Drop one word in the comments that captures the energy you are choosing today. Make it your declaration to the field. And remember, the shortest path home is the breath. 3 conscious inhales can bring you back to the observer. One gap between breaths can reconnect you to the infinite. Breathe, not to survive, but to remember. Not to escape, but to embody. Not to control, but to create. The breath is the key. You are the door. Step through.